Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the Smallville review, retrospective reviews. We're on season 1, episode 8, Jitters. So, yes, this episode has a Final Destination alumni and the aforementioned Robert Wisdom as Chloe's father, Gabe Sullivan, but also the man, the myth, the legend, the Candyman himself, Tony Todd, who makes an appearance. I was like, oh yeah, Candyman. And I'm like, well, man, he was Final Destination as well. He was in the first two. So, and his voice was in the third one, but it wasn't the same. Oh, he's in 5. Yeah, so he was in 3 of them as Bloodworth, and in 1 is a voice. You know, he's the voice of the roller coaster in the third one, and the train at the end. But yes, this episode he plays Earl, a former farmhand for the Kents who went on to work for Luthor Corp in their Smallville plant, and apparently he worked for a place called Level 3. He worked as a janitor. He ended up cleaning an area called Level 3. There was an explosion, embedded shards of meteor rock into his body, and they're embedded into his skin, and they're causing him to have these erratic seizures. Now, I've been trying to connect meteor abilities with those that are infected, and this one, they just say that his body is unstable because of the meteor fragments in his skin. It's causing him to, I don't know. You think it would be like a rash, but I don't understand the jitters stuff. There's a lot that happens in this episode. Like, first off, I don't think there's really an A or B plot in this episode. There's like it feels like it's 2 separate halves. Like, the first is that the Kents are going to Metropolis for their anniversary. Clark has been left alone, and he said he wants to have a small gathering, which I would think would be Pete, Chloe, Lana, maybe Whitney, but a whole party breaks out, with even Lex Luthor showing up and bringing fireworks. He's like, don't worry about the cops. I want to make your big party special, which I like that. I'm sitting there watching, I like that. But then what they do the next day kind of ruins that. But that night, so Lana's there without Whitney. And there's a conversation they have in the barn when Whitney does show up. Like, oh, when we got back together, I'm like, got back together? When did they break up? Is this aired out of order? I don't remember. I'm trying to think. This is only episode 8. When did they break up? Did she break up with him when she did that with Clark? When he did that to Clark in the first episode? When she found out the next episode they break up? I thought it was just an argument. I guess I never caught that. Anyway, all of a sudden the barn starts to shake and they find Earl in there. This is the first connection. This is the first to show there's a connection between him and the Kents. Actually, the first scene of this episode is him and a cameo from actor Michael Eklund, who would be in a lot of other things, including Arrow, and would also appear in the later season of Smallville, because like Supernatural, they reuse actors from time to time. And this is only a cameo. He plays the character of Will, who gets killed accidentally by Earl. It was an accident. But, yeah, so the party happens, and then Earl shows up, and he takes Earl to the hospital, and then he comes home. Everything's sloppy. He cleans up the house with super speed, only to get the from the Kents standing behind him. So they were there the whole time. I've never liked that, because it feels like he should have gotten away with it. He should have gotten away with the party. The whole scene with Lex being there and saying, oh, I want to make this big. That makes it feel like he should have had permission to have this party. Like, that whole scene with Lex being there, it kind of makes it a genuine party. Like this is something that's supposed to happen, and then the parents just come in and bust them. And it's kind of just forgotten about when he mentions Earl, and they go to see Earl, and then it's just the body's never brought up again, and that's where we get the distinct second half. It's like two separate things, really, with Earl being the through line. So now, the 25-year-old kids are going. Okay, they were in the early 20s, whatever. The school, they're having a. It's mentioned at the party that, oh, you guys are having a tour of my plant. What did you do wrong, or something like that? So yeah, they're going to the plant, the Luther Court plant, and that is so that Earl can then show up and take all the kids hostage. And we do find out in an earlier scene that because of all the meteor rock embedded in his skin, Clark gets woozy around him. Little woozy here, like he does around meteor rock. So, and I think this is the first time he mentions it to his parents. I thought he did mention it before, though. I don't know. But, yeah. And, so, Earl takes the people hostage, and then the parents show up, and Lex shows up, and everything is pretty serious. Whitney tries to jump him, but it doesn't work. I don't think he gets shot. I think he gets knocked down. He's like, come on, Kent, we can take him. And I'm like, even if Clark wasn't weakened by it, it's still incredibly stupid. Right? We're going to talk about him being weakened as well. Because Anyway. So Earl keeps saying there was a level 3. Even... Because we see him go in there, and when he gets to where he's supposed to go, there's a wall. And so he tells them, I take the red pipes all the way down to the end of the hall, and I take the elevator down to level 3. I've always been confused by this. Why is it called level 3 if it's in the basement? Should that be like level 0 or something? Level 3, I think, would be a 3rd floor, right? But I guess they have to have it underground so that no one knows it's there. So, shouldn't they call it like a secret basement level or something? Level 3. I don't know. Anyway, so Lex comes in. And he says, you release the hostages, I'll take you to level 3. They all leave, except for Clark, who comes back, even though Pete tries to stop him. Because Clark's got to do everything on his own. Although Lex is there this time. Is that egg on my face? I don't know. I was shaving yesterday. I missed shaving. Brandon audio. Anyway, I'll have to fix that in between. Anyway, so Clark investigates and he finds the elevator. The elevator leads to nothing. And you think, okay, we gotta have a climax. And this is the end. No, we have a climax. So instead, he gets upset. Things start shaking. And they're on like a scaffolding and it starts to break. So Clark has to save them. But Clark is weakened. He's holding on to Earl. He's weakened and he's able to pull him up and pull Lex up. And he doesn't sneeze. I sneeze. He doesn't sneeze. And he's able to do that. Even though he's supposed to be weakened. And I kind of laughed at this because they get up there. Earl starts to seize again on the thing, making it shake. And Clark and Lex look at each other and then just tackle the dude into the elevator. And they get out. And Lex asks him, he's like, Clark, how did you lift us up? He goes, I don't know. Generally, I don't think he knows because he would be weakened by that. They're saying, oh, he's weakened. It's like, he wouldn't be able to do that. So, I think it's the writing. It's just like, oh, we have to make sure he saves them But it doesn't make any sense because he's supposed to be weakened like it's like meteor rocks, although, or kryptonite as it would later be called. But I think maybe they had to do that. Or maybe it's like, oh, it's not pure meteor rock, so it doesn't completely weaken him like it would. So he's able to do that. I don't know. But I love how Lex gets his father in this. The news come up. He's starting to deny. Oh, what you're referring to is a secret storage unit. Is just a storage unit, underground storage unit. And this is a sick man. And then Lex is like, and we have volunteered to deal with all his medical expenses, didn't we, Dad? Yes. Do that. So that was kind of funny. I blew my nose. But yeah, Clark is hugging his family, and then Lex is kind of staring at him. So this is like the catalyst for trying to figure out exactly what is going on with Clark. And this is where my issues with Lex Luthor in the show start. Lex should have no knowledge, because they have to connect him like this, Lex should have no knowledge of Clark's superpowers. I mean, in all reality, Lex and Clark shouldn't have met until after he went to Metropolis. That's how it is. After he is already Superman, or debuts as Superman and everything. That's how it usually goes. But they had to connect him in this way. So of course he's going to be skeptical. You know. But who knows? Who knows? It's just... I love Michael Rosenbaum in the role. I think he's one of, if not the best, Lex Luthor. I mean, everybody loves Jesse Eisenberg, right? We can all say he's the best Lex Luthor, right? Anyway, would you like a Jolly Rancher? Anyway, this episode for me is going to get... I'll give it 4 out of 5 Superman logos out of 5. So, 4 Superman logos out of 5. I think it is a good episode. Genuinely. So far, though, Hourglass is still the best of the season. But I think it's pretty good. Tony Todd, excuse me, not Tony Cox. That's the little guy from Bad Santa. Tony Todd is great in this role. And his acting chops in this, you can tell he's a man who's been through some shit. He just wants his family back. He wants his life back. He wants to be normal again. He doesn't like just shaking. So, yeah, he's really good in this episode. And I think this is the first one where they're not inherently a villain, really. Like, they keep saying Meteor Rock makes you evil, but not a lot of this is really bad. Like, with Jodie, right? So maybe he's not the first one, but with Jodie, she was not evil inherently, but she had the craving. She couldn't help it. She went after the Final Destination 2 guy. That was revenge. So it was sort of justified, but not really. You're not justified in killing people, but you know what I mean. And I don't know. I think, like, it's sympathetic. He's a sympathetic character. He's not really a villain, as some of the other Meteor Freaks would be. But, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.